What's up, everybody? It is Zach, the Dark Conservatarian, and I know it has been a while with me doing a live stream on either one of my two channels, but I am so sorry. Things have been just very busy within my schedule, but within the last few weeks, Loudmouth has been wanting us to review Sinners, and I finally saw it like a little bit later than him, and it's been a few weeks since I saw it, but still I've seen it. So tell us, Loudmouth. What do you think about Sinners?
I thought it was really damn good, actually. A good old school horror movie, kind of a slash period piece.
Yeah, I thought so too. I especially like the beginning point of it. Like I've been seeing the trailers and whatnot for it, that it was probably going to be like a vampire movie. And I know that's what you said, but when I was going throughout the first third of it, I was all like, was this really a vampire movie? I haven't seen the vampires. It took a while for the vampires to show on screen, but before the vampires had actually shown up on screen, it felt a bit like a nice vibe movie. Kind of not so much vibe because they're not just hanging around in one specific area, but still just seeing all the different characters kind of their chemistry work dynamically with each other and whatnot. And I liked
right, and just kind of the setting of being set in Mississippi in the 1930s, and just kind of what the world was like. Basically, kind of the sharecropping that a lot of people in that time period engaged in.
Yeah, and might I say that the trailers definitely did interest me to some extent. I want to see the movie. Like, it seemed to be like the perfect role for somebody like Michael B. Jordan, which is an actor that I don't really care for most of the time, especially because of how he started off, which was with Fant Four Stick. Which, by the way, that would actually be a perfect time for you to like. I don't know how inappropriate it is for me to mention it, but that'd be perfect timing for you to republicize your old review of that video is when the new Fantastic Four comes out. But anyway, Michael B. Jordan just did not make a good Johnny Storms, and he was kind of arrogant about his role, despite it being so bad, and overly self-serious in playing the role and so forth. And so from then on, I just had a bad taste in my mouth about him. And Killmonger, he was better as just still wasn't quite my cup of tea and so forth, but sorry, I was trying to share a link there. Did I lose Loudmouth there? But anyway, 1 second. Hey, you're back.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. My computer froze. I hope that doesn't happen again.
Oh well, shit. Yeah, I hope so too. I don't know how much you've been catching of what I said, but I did not really like him and actually not at all in Fant Four Stick, because he was over serious as Johnny Storm and was rather arrogant about his part in that role, acting like it was going to be so good even though it was so bad. And so from then on, he had a bad taste. He gave a bad taste in my mouth about the type of actor that he was. Killmonger, it was more suited for, but still wasn't quite my type of character. I never seen any of the Creed movies, but this movie seemed to be more of his type of thing, of it being like a grounded and kind of fairly serious role for somebody as, well, to put it lightly, self-serious as Michael B. Jordan.
Well, I really liked his character. He kind of a cool, tough swag to him, and that made sense since the two characters he plays are both World War I veterans. So these are kind of guys who've just been through it all, been seen the trenches, seen the worst, and are kind of two ruthless dudes. You saw, like early in the movie, it establishes that when he shoots that guy in the leg who was robbing him.
Yeah, and might I say, I thought that was based of him. Like, thieves don't deserve to get away with murder or thievery, I guess, to be more specific.
Oh yeah, I got what he does. But what was I saying about sharecropping before I got cut off? That you see, when after slavery was abolished, basically a lot of people in the South needed their fields picked, but obviously after that they couldn't force them to do so. So they didn't really have the wages to kind of pay them at the moment. So what the system they kind of came up with was sharecropping, where they kind of divide it gave all their former slaves and sometimes other people who are brought in kind of like a share of the profits of what the farm picked. So everyone, which was a good way of like incentivizing everyone to work hard, because the more profit the farm made, the higher their shares, and the more money they made in the long run. So that's what most of the people you see in the fields were at this time. They were kind of sharecroppers.
Yeah, I see. I kind of want to say more about Michael B. Jordan. Have you ever seen any of those memes, or at least I've seen one meme of a variant of where that goes on about how, oh, there's no actually good masculine black male character in movies. Like, it was somebody who was pretty much pro-black identity and so forth. I think that's the angle they were taking it from. And they thought that the general representation in a lot of movies was either it's the old sagely character like Morgan Freeman, which is good in its own right, but still, I guess, getting kind of tired in this person's point of view, or B, a Steve Urkel nerd type of character, or C, some overly flamboyant gay male character. Barely any actually masculine male characters, but here we go. Michael B. Jordan playing this role in Sinners.
2 roles in Sinners, because he plays a pair of twins.
Right. I do gotta say this is a little bit of a nitpick. I found it kind of hard to differentiate between Smoke and Stack, which was their gang names in this movie. Y'all, they went by the names of Smoke and Stack, the 2 twins, to fulfill the full gang name.
They're identical twins, but they could have done something like give them different like hairstyle or different like facial hair, distinguish them, but they didn't even really do that.
Yeah, that would have been definitely real helpful, and their clothes weren't that different, weren't different enough for me to tell, and their personalities weren't different enough either. I mean, one of them was obviously more of a hard ass. One of them was unwilling to let the 3 white guys who, at this point in the movie, we the audience were revealed that they're vampires, but not everyone else inside the movie and the story. But still, wasn't letting the 3 white guys join the party, even though they seemed kind of friendly. And the other one was all like, well, yeah, these 3 seem friendly enough. Let's let them hang out for a little while or something. So there was that differentiation. But before then, there wasn't enough of differentiation for me to tell which is which, really.
Well, back in that time period, it would have been very, very weird for any white person to go to like an all black bar in one of those parts of Mississippi. That's just something that white people at the time just didn't know. So something that kind of like freaked them out. Like, do these guys have an alternative motive or something? Which, of course, we know that they did. That they were vampires.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it makes a kind of sense in that regards. But it's still like definitely gave me more of a preference on which character that I liked more, as far as who was like the slightly more tolerant one than the other. Like
right. Yeah, I mean, and the title of the movie Sinners really fits, given all kind of sin and debauchery that happens throughout this movie. It's kind of it's a very sexual movie on top of just being a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that are sins, or at least alleged sins anyways, because that's what I liked about this movie, was the storytelling aspect of it. Like, let me be absolutely clear, y'all. I am not one of those extreme fundamentalist Christians that thinks that any and every music that does not explicitly go praising Jesus is a sin to be listening to or playing. But this movie utilizes that bit of extremist Christian theology for its storytelling. And that this one kid, Bobby Moore, is that his name? The one young kid?
I think so. I don't really remember the character's name. I saw it a while ago.
So Bobby Moore, he wants to play jazz, blues, and other music that is, to put it quite bluntly, of the black culture variant, instead of playing gospel and worship music like his dad would prefer that he did. As it later develops in the story, this playing this kind of music just attracts sinful, evil spirits, and in this case, it was the vampires. Not to mention the promiscuous sex that happens at the party, and drugs. I would assume, and other things.
He has that affair with that woman who we do reveal is a married woman, so he's essentially permitting it in adultery here. This definitely makes him a sinner.
Yeah.
But yeah, the association of kind of music that it would kind of like lead to like premarital fornication is why often the devil is often portrayed as a fiddler, but because it was kind of believed among extreme fundamentalist Christians that again that like music and dance would lead to dancing would lead to premarital fornication. So like joyful music was of the devil, and so often why in a lot of like old folklore the devil is portrayed as a fiddler. Most people know that song "Devil Went Down to Georgia," which kind of took that role and popularized it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ever read Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian, the villain of the story, who is not directly stated to be Satan, but is heavily implied to be Satan, one of the things he does is he plays the fiddle very frequently, as well as committing pretty much every nasty, horrible thing you can think of.
Are you talking about like the? Are you talking about the main vampire villain that goes playing the fiddle?
No, I was talking about Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian, the villain of that novel. He plays the fiddle.
Okay.
I was saying, that character, he's widely considered one of the most evil characters in all of fiction, and one of the clues that he's really the devil is that he like plays the fiddle. And it talks about him dancing, and it says he never sleeps. The judge, he says that he will never die.
Yeah. And so, staying on the point of the storytelling aspect of utilizing sin within the storytelling, to be clear, I am personally a Christian, and again, I like the storytelling aspect of using sin in the way that they did. But with that said, I am really pissed off with at the end what Bobby Moore does, and that he decides that he is just gonna go off and play his music that was attracting these evil spirits that got all of his friends and family killed. Like if you was to watch, by the way, spoilers for everybody in case it wasn't already obvious, Bobby Moore, there's like a flash forward scene at the beginning of the movie that shows Bobby Moore like coming back from the ugly night that he had just witnessed and was a part of, and his pastor dad is comforting him and is all like, drop the guitar and abandon this sinful lifestyle. But Bobby Moore, as we flash back to that moment at the bare end of the movie, he's all like, nope, I'm gonna keep on playing music. Personally, if I was in his shoes, like right now, I don't think that jazz and blues are sinful, but if I was to see that listening to and especially playing jazz and blues attracted these evil spirits, if I saw it for myself, I would abandon that sort of lifestyle. And so for Bobby Moore not to be abandoning it and just really not really giving a fuck about it attracting evil spirits, it's like, are you fucked in the head, kid? Like,
I think it's the character kind of embracing the dark, you know?
Maybe, but it still like makes him kind of an unlikable character. And there is
I don't think any of the characters really all meant to be all that likable.
Not really. I mean, there is some good and bad to each of the characters. Like Bobby Moore, there was the one good side of where that, from all that I could tell, he was like the most tolerant of all the black characters, like the least racist amongst them all, along with one of his older cousins. Like I said, I cannot tell if Smoke or Stack was the one who was all like, hey, let the white people like participate in the club for a little bit. But but there's the bad side of Bobby Moore, where he's all like, nope, I'm going to keep on doing this shit that got my friends and family killed. And and everyone else, go ahead.
Yeah, and also in terms of the debauchery, we get to see one character get off right before he gets offed.
Who gets off? Right before he gets off?
One of the Michael B. Jordans gets his neck torn out right after banging Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, okay,
yeah. I'm thinking, I can think of worse ways to die.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah, That's how I want to die, is having my neck ripped up by Haley Steinfeld. If I have to die someday, that's how I want to do it.
I can't remember one celebrity that you mentioned before. One gal who is like a ginger with big boobs. Right on the tip of my tongue, but really, you wouldn't. Really, there isn't any other celebrity who you prefer to die having sex with by her, like having ripped out a jugular vein out of your neck.
There's a few, but I'll settle for Haley Steinfeld.
I guess so. And yeah, she
Right.
she was pretty, and since I kind of mentioned racism and that aspect of it, one thing that kind of bugged me about this movie, like ultimately, yeah, overall, great movie, great storytelling, and great character chemistry and dynamics between all the characters. With and maybe like the least favorite character of mine was Bobby Moore, with the purely just because of the decision that he makes at the end of the movie. But one thing that really bugged me throughout it is the racial antagonism. Now, let me be clear that it's understandable that there would be some antagonism considering the period that it's in, but the movie doesn't act like that it's really a taboo thing for like black people to be calling white people crackers or whatnot. And so it's like it's a movie
I
condoning
think it's
that.
just being accurate to the time period. That's how it was, man.
I guess, and it definitely was not as antagonistic as Get Out. Have you ever seen Get Out?
Yeah, but with Get Out, I kind of think is just kind of a dark comedy. It's so over the top and ridiculous. I was laughing my ass off at it.
There is a lot of things about it that are like okay, I guess, like the comedic aspect and the darkness and the acting of that movie was all pretty good. But I just could not.
The scene where his where the main character's ex-girlfriend is looking for a next victim by studying the NCAA. I nearly lost it from laughing my ass off at that.
I guess
that is great. That is great dark humor.
I don't remember that part, but I remember the one fat black dude being like the most fun character amongst all the characters, just in my personal opinion. Right. There was not really a character that was bad in that it was a hindrance of the movie as far as storytelling goes, but he was still my most favorite character as far as entertainment value goes. But I still dislike that movie, Get Out, because of the fact of how racially antagonistic it was, because it literally made all the white characters, every single one of them, and the one Asian character that they had pop up for a brief moment as evil scumbags, and all the black people as like either kind of morally neutral or just plain good guys. So it's all like, what are you trying to say, movie? Are you trying to say that all white people are bad or something? I mean, Sinners did not do that to that same extent. I mean, there was the fact that it's just trying to be accurate to the period. Yes, that black people probably would, when they're self-segregating themselves away from white people, they probably would just refer to them as, the C word and all that stuff. But and there was also the fact that the bartender at the bare end of the movie that was white was pulled one of the most Chad moves in the whole movie, in my opinion, and that the female vampire is trying to seduce him, and he's all like, "Get away from me, weirdo! I'm no simp." That's just my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, so she's so she's managed to be immortal. So she's managed to look like that for 60-something years. Maybe they could do a sequel to this movie set in modern times with that.
Yeah. It would be interesting to try and see what they could do to pull off a sequel. Quite honestly, I don't see of how and where they could go as far as a sequel to Sinners go. It seems like
maybe just make a movie where Haley Steinfeld does sexy shit and and eats people throughout the whole movie.
And also have the other Michael B. Jordan character that was made a vampire.
Yeah, he can be there too.
And I don't know, maybe they can have a Blade cameo to tie in the movie to MCU.
Yes, that is how this movie is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And in the next one, Michael B. Jordan's character fights Blade.
Yeah, that would be kind of a badass, actually. That's the only logical way that I can see this movie becoming a sequel without it being totally like antagonistic and mean spirited and just promoting of evil shit and vampires just roaming around and just fucking people up because oh, you did something sinful that attracts me, so that now I'm gonna eat you.
Yes. Yeah, plays on that kind of like sin and debauchery, like would attract evil, like old school, like fundamentalist Christian view that it plays up for its horror. I also kind of like how the vampire kind of was trying to be morally ambiguous and like justifying it by saying, "Hey, I saved you guys. Some of the guys I ate were in the clan. They're coming to get you later."
Yeah, that bit what made the movie interesting.
Yeah, it brought some strange moral ambiguity into this.
Yeah, and I like the middle portion, the long shot of where that they had multiple different musicians from multiple different periods just pop up and kind of excuse me, in kind of a fit of ecstasy and delusion in the minds of all these partiers. Or I don't know what it was. It was Robbie Moore like piercing into a different dimension and just bringing these different characters from different points into, well, their realm of existence. But however you want to like look at it, it was still kind of a cool scene to watch, regardless.
Right. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Another con that I do have kind of with this movie is a couple of the action scenes were kind of not well executed. Like okay, so first of all, the one part of where that's the good guys, they have lined up to fight off the vampires at the big barn, and then the big barn door bursts open and the vampires come charging in, and from what I remember and what it looks like, it almost immediately 4 humans or something like that are downed by the vampires and eaten up. But then some later shot or two, they show that the same set of like 7 characters, the 2 Asians and the old black guy and so forth, they're still standing. It wouldn't be until like a few seconds later from the initial charge that they would finally die. It's like, did we just see like 4 new regular human characters just pop up out of thin air between clips or something? It was weird. And just in general, that charge scene just seemed like a total mess, in my opinion. It was kind of hard to make out things. Did you have any opinions about that? Hello? Ah, shit. His computer froze again. Right as I was mentioning the point about the initial charge at the barn building. We don't have a whole lot going on in the chat. We just have Night Shift. Loved this movie and loved the twist halfway through. Yeah, I mean, I love or at least like the movie a lot. I mean, it's a solid, at least a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10. It's obviously not perfect because of some of the sloppiness of the action scenes. Robbie Moore being too morally dubious at the end at the bare end of the movie, and also a couple of the action scenes were kind of sloppily executed, but that's just me. Anyway, welcome back, Loudmouth. Did you catch anything that I said about the what I was going on about the action scene in the barnyard between the humans and the vampires with the initial charge scene?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of that. Yeah, but you're saying that there are some continuity issues with it.
Yeah, it just felt like that within that initial charge scene that there was just 4 random new regular human characters that popped up out of nowhere between clips for the vampires to take down as cannon fodder, while the main human characters that we're actually focusing on, it wouldn't be until like a few seconds later that they would finally actually be down, vampirized, and dead, And just in general, that initial charge scene was hard to make out. But what was your opinion about that?
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're talking about.
And
it kind of was cutting back quite a bit, and then there was kind of this like weird blood orgy that's going on outside.
Yeah.
What I generally thought the vampires had really good presence. They were genuinely pretty scary in a few shots.
Oh yeah, they're scary, but they were also entertaining simultaneously at the same time. Like the Irish jig that they were all doing as a big group at one point in the movie, that was actually fun to listen to, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Just the whole soundtrack of the whole movie was just awesome to listen to. Like it was pretty unique. Like, you know, when that the one big titted black woman and one of the Michael Jordan twins goes having sex, and there's that rock ballad song that goes playing as they get it going, and then it cuts to the next scene. I mean, the sex scene itself was just a little bit weird and disturbing. Maybe could have done without that, just in my opinion. But I thought that the music itself that they used in that point.
There's two characters in history. That was the first time he's been back in a while. Remember, this is a time when communication was hard. You couldn't just pull a cell phone out of your pocket to stay in touch. You know, it's like a long time, so a lot of tension between them. So they're gonna fuck.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I don't know. I'm not going to go too on about that. I just the music is the main thing that I want to make a point on. Just all the music was great. Not a bad track to be listened to at all.
No. It was very good. The whole movie had good atmosphere, and the kind of IMAX film that it was shot on gave it a very old school look to it. That it was shot on analog film and not digitally.
Yeah. The second action scene that I want to kind of critique about was when it turns daytime and one of the twins is alive still, and he has to fight off the clan members that come charging in on him. So the clan members surround the barn, expecting to have a whole bunch of people inside to collect. But Michael B. Jordan, he comes a surprise attack behind them, and he just unloads a whole bunch of guns on them and so forth.
Yeah, he knew they were coming. They didn't expect, and of course, he has military experience, so he's not one to be fucked with.
Yeah, I mean, I get the narrative sense on how he would be able to take on a whole bunch of average Joe Schmo racists, but probably hicks that are inbred too, not so they're not too smart on that front. But still, it's like a dozen or two of them, and he's charging them kind of slowly, and he's out in the open and being shot at by like I said, 24 clan members. You think that he would have got hit at least once or twice or multiple times, even as he was just casually walking towards them while he was shooting them at the same time. I mean,
he eventually does get hit.
Well, he does eventually, but not until like towards the end of it, of when that there's only like one or two of them that is still alive. In the initial onslaught of when that's multiple of them shooting at him while he's shooting at them, though, he should have gotten hit. Like, I could definitely forgive a something like that if this was like some 90s schlocky action film, like how in Con Air, Nicolas Cage just goes casually walking towards Cyrus. Cyrus shoots him, and he accidentally just grazes his arm is all, and he like tanks it and doesn't hardly even flinch. Something like that I could forgive, but I don't think that Sinners was trying to go for some 90s schlocky action film kind of feel or anything like that. It was trying to be more gritty, grounded, and realistic with some of its themes. I mean, it's a vampire movie, so obviously there's no realism in that one. But as far as the action goes, by all that I could tell, by all intents and purposes, seems like that they were wanting to go for something more grounded and, well, more realism. So that the fact that that action scene of where that he's slowly charging at the clan members just kind of sucked me out of it. I was all like, no, he should be getting hit multiple times by now.
I could buy it. I mean, if he catches them off guard and he starts firing, I could see that happening. I mean, eventually, again, he did get hit.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's kind of heads.
Yeah, none of them were expecting an ambush. They came in thinking that they were coming. We'd get the drop on all of them, but of course, he knew they were coming because the vampires told him.
Yeah.
Events that these hicks had no idea about. What?
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes as well is when he offers that one dude in the field a job, and he's like incredibly vulgar and crass to this guy in front of his wife. And the guy's like, Stay here. I'm going to knock the black out of this fool. And his wife says, how much is he paying?
Yeah. Like I said, dynamic chemistry between all the characters. It was very enjoyable to watch on screen.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, she didn't even care that he was vulgar with her. She just saw, hey, this guy's offering a job opportunity. He can be a little vulgar if it means more money coming our way.
And I can't remember what the line was that he said towards the end of the dialogue, but he was all like, "Your wife's a very good wife."
He said, no, the line was, "That's a woman."
Now that's a woman, yeah. In sort of a rather patriarchal sense, complimentary way to
his character, Michael Jordan, he really exuded very like old school masculinity, which I really loved, and is way not very common in modern Hollywood movies to their detriment. Yeah. Oftentimes, men are portrayed as kind of weak, willed creatures, just let women lead them around, and that's not what you got from the characters in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, there was a one, like I said, sexy, big-titted black lady who was a word of wisdom for how to handle vampires, but other than that, it was pretty much a man's movie throughout it all. And despite me kind of nitpicking at some of the racial antagonism, it definitely was not antagonistic on the gender fronts, in my opinion. It definitely portrayed the gender roles in a rather traditional sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that, and I just liked in general that there was some actual legitimate badass male characters and female characters too. Let's be fair. Like I said, yeah. I really thought that the one plus size black woman was really hot.
Yeah, she was hot. Okay. And of course, it has Haley Steinfeld. So yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, quite a few sexy women are in this movie, and it's a sexy movie as well as being a very violent movie. It's just it's a good adult movie. It's a good date movie, in my opinion.
So, my question to you is, how would you rate it? And is it better or just slightly inferior to Warfare?
I still kind of prefer Warfare, but I still consider this a really good movie. Might be my second favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, it's definitely so far my second favorite so far. I haven't seen too many movies though. In all fairness, I've seen Minecraft and I've seen freaking the Minecraft movie and Warfare and Sinners, and I know that there's like at least a fourth movie that I've
Did you see the new Mission Impossible? That was really good too.
No, I have not.
Oh, you should.
I don't stay caught up with all the Mission Impossibles. Really, it just seems to go by too fast for me to catch them and for me to really care. I mean, no offense.
Yeah, I really like the Mission Impossibles. They got a lot of great stunts, a lot of good action. Yeah, I don't think there's been 8 of them, and not a single one of them has been bad.
Yeah, I've watched the first one and the third one in full. I just haven't watched a second one, and then I go seeing that there's sequel after sequel after sequel. Is like, is this a little bit of a milking? I don't know.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise likes playing that character. He's made 8 of them over 29 years.
And I guess this is the final one, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I call it the final reckoning.
So in my opinion, Sinners is like a, I'll go ahead and call it an 8 out of 10. Warfare, like I said, is still superior. It's a 9. If I was to think more about the flaws, maybe I'd give Sinners a 7 out of 10, but still 7 or 8 is still like really good in my rating system.
Yeah.
And I don't like it just in an ironic sense. I love it in an unironic sense.
Yeah.
But so do we want to like go on to this video that I said that we would respond to?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So I need to screen share. So I like Sinners, Loudmouth likes Sinners, and so does this one guy that we're about to respond to, and also so does Critical Drinker. To be frank, set things up here. Here we go.
Yeah, he's got taste. Of course
Whoops.
he would.
Sorry, what?
Said critical drinker is taste. Of course he does.
Yeah. So actually, I want to set the foreground here. So still staying on the issue of Sinners, apparently Critical Drinker, I guess he was kind of slow to make a full-fledged video about Sinners, and people were just lambasting him for it. And this is kind of the thing that frustrates me about Sinners, quite honestly. Like, it is really legitimately a good movie, and but the thing that kind of gives me a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth is that leftists are using it as a cudgel in the culture war, and it's just a kind of, like I said, puts a bad taste in my mouth. And they're using it against Critical Drinker and everyone else. And reason why I bring up this video is because I'm getting really ticked off and frustrated with Critical Drinker detractors. They go acting like he is some no nuance, no bullshit / quartering-esque kind of anti-woke movie reviewer, when really that's not the case at all. In fact, I don't know of how many people saw this video, but he actually made a video on his secondary channel. Here, let me see if I can pull it up, actually, of where that he goes criticizing the term woke, saying that it's a cringy term and whatnot. Yeah, here it is, right here.
Odin Valhalla Rising, now available on mobile and PC, exclusively with Google Play Games.
Woke. If there's one word I could choose to erase from the English language, it would probably be that. It's a word that I try to avoid in my own reviews as much as possible, because just like racism and sexism, it's been overused so much over the past few years that it's basically lost all meaning and relevance.
Yeah.
What are we responding to here, though?
Sorry, what?
What are we responding to here?
We're going to be responding to the video right here, but I just wanted to only play a few seconds of it. But it's this video that I was wanting to show in relevance to my point. This video is proof that Critical Drinker is not one of those typical anti-woke trademark movie reviewers. But yet people, apparently not too many detractors, have seen this video of his. If they did, I think it would give a whole lot more perspective, that he has a whole lot more nuance than people give him credit for. But before I go actually playing this video, what do you think of Critical Drinker, Loudmouth?
He's all right. I watched some of his reviews. Got nothing. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. He's definitely not the smartest of movie reviewers, in my quite honest opinion. Like, he's good enough. I definitely use him as a baseline to see if a movie is worth going on my way to pay a theater ticket for, because damn it, theaters are expensive nowadays. I want to see if it's actually worth it, or if I'm going to just end up squirming in my seat and not enjoying myself at all, and practically want to walk out as I just wasted a movie ticket and some time in my day or something. Sometimes that he can be kind of off base, though, like his review of Avatar: The Way of Water, where he was criticizing Spider for the fact that he saved the Colonel guy's life, and not understanding the reason why he did that, because the Colonel guy just essentially saved Spider's life. So he feels kind of indebted and owed to saving the guy's life. But Critical Drinker didn't understand that.
He played with his father at the end. It really made no sense for him to go back to Jake and Neytiri after what Neytiri tried to do.
Sorry. Definitely. I mean, there's the problem of the representation of Neytiri in that movie, but that's subject by itself. But
yeah, I thought it was actually a good and much needed moral ambiguity. It kind of does make sense, though, there with Neytiri, that after seeing one of her children die and having other children being threatened, she would be willing to go to general moral lengths to protect her remaining children. But if you watch deleted scenes, she goes even further. Her actions are straight up villainous.
Yeah, I mean,
in a deleted scene, even after releasing Spider, she still considered killing him, just purely out of revenge, and has to be locked out of it by Jake. I'm like, I see why that was deleted, because it would make Neytiri essentially a.
Fuck yeah! I thought that she was honestly she was butchered and well, I don't know if butchered is the right word, but she was made unlikable in that one scene of where that she was willing to kill Spider in the first place.
It may be unlikable, but again, it is understandable given the situation. Given this is a mother who just lost her firstborn son, and has other children be threatened. She's like, "Fuck no, none of my other. No, I'm not going to lose another child tonight, no matter what."
Yeah, let me put it this way: it was understandable but hateable at the same time. But
right.
We're not really talking about the Way of Water. The point of bringing that up, though, is that sometimes Critical Drinker, in my opinion, can be wrong. And like I said, not the smartest of reviewers. In fact, I would go ahead and say that Loudmouth Reviews right here has smarter, more interesting takes more times than Critical Drinker does, from what I listen so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome, which is why I want to see edited videos again, dude.
Okay, can you donate $1,000 a month to my Patreon?
Oh, damn! I don't know about that.
Yeah.
How about $20 a month?
Well, okay, that'll definitely pay the mortgage.
Okay, and all seriousness, though. But aside from that, Critical Drinkers detractors don't give him enough credit on the good side of him. So. Okay. And just to use as a baseline, I thought we would respond to this 10-minute video. Try to not take too long with it, but still, here we go.
You know, there are very few movies out there that I would personally consider to be once in a lifetime. You know the ones, those films that not only broke the mold, but redefined what it is to be cinema.
And he's referring to Sinners right here. Spoilers on the video here that we're responding to, everybody. But still, like I said, Sinners is a good movie, but I don't know if it's absolutely groundbreaking. Yeah,
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. In fact, we mentioned Get Out earlier. Going back to Get Out, I mean, yeah. Sinners did make a very good profit, and it was very well received. But you know what other movie was also very well received by the critics and made a huge profit? Freaking Get Out! And yet, 8 years later, is anybody really talking about that movie? No. So, I mean, I don't think that Sinners is quite that level as Get Out is. I think that Sinners has a whole lot more rewatchability to it than Get Out. So I don't want to say that it's as inferior as Get Out, but still, I think it's pretty similar in that way, in that it's pretty much a black-centric movie. And by the way, that's something that I forgot to mention earlier, is that I don't have an issue with the fact that Sinners is a black-centric movie, just the racial antagonism. It could have done without some of the racial antagonism in the movie, but I digress.
Not really. It wouldn't be accurate to the time period. That racial antagonism it showed was how it was back then.
Okay, show the racial antagonism, but give some sign or something to say that, or more of a sign or condemnation of racism, I guess, towards all people of all races.
I just don't think it's necessary because it just wasn't really part of what the story was about.
Maybe not, but they're both pretty similar in that they were well received, had a very good profit, and were all black-centric. And yet Get Out is not talked about, and I think something similar is going to happen with Sinners. I mean, like I said, more rewatchability, but is it going to change the landscape of Hollywood? Just like Get Out, I don't think it is. Unless if there is a sequel that is going to build off and expand exponentially what was set, what groundwork was made with the first Sinners movie.
Those projects that managed to set a new standard on not only a cinematic level, but a cultural level also. Things like the Spider-Verse movies.
Okay. I mean, Spider-Verse, yeah, that's fair. But the thing is with Spider-Verse is mostly because of its animation style more than anything. It's not like Get Out had any super fancy. I mean, yeah, the cinematography was great, but I don't know if the cinematography was anything that special. It might have been done in other movies that I cannot think of off the top of my head. What do you think, Loudmouth?
What do you?
I don't know. I guess I'll just move on.
finding the animation and comic book space, or the original Star Wars movies that managed to create a social empire in of itself.
Now, this I have more of something to say. Comparing Sinners to Star Wars is like comparing, honestly, Liechtenstein to the Roman Empire, because Star Wars was an obvious juggernaut that managed to revitalize and give a bit of a renaissance to sci-fi. And revolutionized rather.
Well, Sinners, honestly, I could definitely see it as being considered a horror classic in the years to come. Because there's a lot of shit horror movies that come out every year. Horror is a genre I love when it's done well, but vast majority of horror movies suck. So a really good horror movie is kind of rare, and I think Sinners will be appreciated for that.
But I think it would be more considered a horror classic in the same vein of something like Starship Troopers is considered to be a sci-fi classic. Although obviously Sinners, made more of a profit than Starship Troopers, but still.
Yeah, but I could see it being more seeing more in the horror classics like John Carpenter's The Thing or Cronenberg's The Fly. There's sure. In terms of like other vampire movies of the past, I could definitely see this being considered one of the best.
Sure, but I still feel. I mean, those movies that you mentioned are still shrink by comparison to what was Star Wars. Because if you were to go back in history and adjust for inflation, the box office of the original Star Wars, it was 700 million in raw dollar amounts. But if you adjust for inflation, it made $4 billion in today's money.
That's not all that $700 million was made in 1977. It was re-released multiple times over the decade that accumulated that 700 million, dude. So no, it would not be $4 billion if you adjust to inflation. It would probably be something like half that.
Oh, really? The box office number in Wikipedia is accumulating all the re-releases as well.
Yeah. So probably maybe 3 billion, but not 4 billion.
Okay, so still like a massive number that dwarfs Sinners by comparison. So I feel like that he is just overpraising Sinners by drawing a Star Wars comparison.
Right.
Anyway.
Movies like those are so incredibly rare, and that's because only the best of the best are able to reach that status. And it's my belief that Sinners is another one of those movies.
I just want to ask again, where is the commentary about Get Out? Sorry.
He's entitled to his opinion.
Sure. Of course he is. It's just, and this isn't really the point that I think is like really ridiculous and that made me want to respond. I mean, you still yet to get to the drinker part.
Twins? Nah, we cousins.
Honestly, what is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said? Well, for me at least, this was a movie that I initially didn't have that much interest towards. Its trailer didn't really amaze me, and I wasn't...
Well, then, I wonder why that is, because it did intrigue me, and see that I'm kind of in a lot of the same shoes as this guy, but I don't know. I'm just pausing for copyright's sake, copyright fair use.
Really expecting much from this movie outside of a few memorable moments, but oh,
damn it!
Okay, rule number 1.
I don't freaking care for Moana 2.
Oh boy, was I wrong. Because Sinners was not just another run-of-the-mill horror movie, it's an important and meaningful phenomenon.
Important and meaningful, I have a feeling that he is thinking of the it makes history in black culture and black history or something like that, kind of that angle. I mean, considering the fact that Get Out is kind of forgotten, I don't think... Well, Sinners, like I say, is better.
I think comparing it to Get Out is stupid because I think Sinners is a significantly better movie.
It's significantly better. I just don't know if it's that much better to where that this guy is like making it out to be. I mean, it's not even like on Black Panther levels of significance, honestly.
I think it's a much better movie than Black Panther was.
Well, yeah, it's better. Just it did not make
Well, particularly compared to the second movie. My God, it's way better than that one.
Oh, yeah. It just did not make as many waves as Black Panther, by what all I can tell anyway.
It doesn't have the Marvel Cinematic Universe juggernaut to it. Unless it turns out that the sequel crosses with Blade, which they should do.
Honestly, yeah, I think I'm all for that. And by then, we'll see how the dynamics change in the community.
We're gonna have Haley Steinfeld as like a sexy vampirist villain in the villain fighting Blade, and it's gonna be awesome.
Or tries to seduce Blade, and Blade just pulls a Chad. No, I'm not a simp.
Maybe.
That despite the skepticism, has managed to claw out a major success, with it being so strong that it returned to IMAX theaters despite a new Marvel movie being released not too long after it. This film is quite frankly just so rich in its themes, cinematography, character work, and so much more that it quite frankly has to be seen in order to be believed. And I'm someone who has no personal connection to this movie or its themes.
Okay, so that's kind of what I've wanted to mention again.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, most people don't have personal connection to this movie. I mean, other than the people who made it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somebody who wasn't personally connected, but I still was intrigued by the trailers. I just, I guess I'm just still confused by
personally connected to it, as in like lived in Mississippi in the 1930s. Well, not many people alive today were.
I almost think that he's like taking the route of, because I'm not black. Or do you think that's unfair for me to theorize?
Whatever.
Okay, well, I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care. This is not the crux of my argument.
Because culturally, it's not that significant to me, but despite that, it managed to engage with me in a way that very few films ever really have. So with that being said, you would expect a lot of other people, especially critics, to be praising this movie to no end, absolutely shouting its accomplishments to the rooftops. But despite that...
Well, I kind of thought that a lot of people of those same critics that you're about to mention would be praising of a movie like Violent Night, but they weren't of that one either. I mean
most critics get a positive review, though.
Sorry, what?
I was saying, what's the top? Most critics did give it a positive review.
Of Sinners?
Sinners got a very high score.
Yeah. Did you freeze again?
No.
Oh, for some reason a brief cutout. I thought you did. But anyway, continuing.
There are a few large creators on YouTube who, despite apparently caring about cinema and the movie industry, have been suspiciously quiet about this movie, despite it being...
So what?
That is just petty, right? I mean, yeah, not everyone is infinite time in the world to talk about everything that comes out just because you liked it, dude. If you want to talk about the movie, fine. But someone else neglected to review this movie, shame on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of petty reasoning to be complaining about Critical Drinker, and even like, we'll just listen to the first few seconds of a Drinker's review of Sinners. But as he says it himself.
So apparently it's not enough that I've been gushing about this movie on social media for the past couple of weeks and talking about it like every open bar. It seems like I just can't complete my character arc unless I give you a full video review of it. So, okay, fine, I guess you win.
Yeah, he's been praising it apparently for quite a while now, but apparently doing it on social media and otherwise is just not enough for some odd reason.
Yes.
Several weeks now in theaters. Yep, I'm talking about the classic grifters. The snake oil...
He uses grifters almost as if like grifters is like just a one-sided thing. Like the only one side has its share of grifters, which...
they're grifters because they didn't review a movie you like promptly. Huh? If the traditional definition of grifter is someone who just says shit in order to like gin up views, doesn't really believe or care about the things he says. Someone who skips a big movie that everyone's talking about is probably the opposite of a grifter.
Yeah, and like has been alluded, he pretty much liked Sinners. I mean, are you going to try and pose that Critical Drinker didn't really like Sinners or something like that? Like, I would think that's the only real meaningful definition of a grifter is somebody who's only pretending to believe what they say they believe, not somebody who just, decides for better or for worse, well, usually for better, like they don't have enough time in their day, or they just decide that's not really worth it for some other reason, not to talk about a certain
people have lives, dude. We don't all live online.
Precisely. Like, for example, I don't talk a lot about the issue of Israel because, I'm not shy to mention my beliefs about the issue of the nation of Israel on my main channel. It's just I decide not to because, for one, I'm not the most well-read about the history of Israel and whatnot.
Not me. My Twitter bio reads Giga Zionist.
Well, you do you. And the biggest reason why I do that is because unless if I was to be like very well researched to where that I know I could convince like all the people who are Israel skeptics within my audience, I just find it not really worth it to talk about to Israel that much on my main channel, or else I just lose like a shitload of subscribers, as opposed to uniting them with me on talking about more important subjects like what kind of economy should we be having in the United States? Can we preserve our gun rights and so on and so forth? It doesn't make me a grifter because I decide to abstain from talking about subjects I don't feel that are really that worth it.
Salesmen of YouTube, people like Heels versus Babyface, Nerdrotic, or someone who I have talked about before in this channel, the Critical Drinker. All of these people, and
apparently he has made a couple of other Critical Drinker videos before. I'll have to check those out sometime.
Seems like he's got a weird hate boner for Critical Drinker.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Where you just kind of like try to find everything to criticize.
I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, I have a handful of videos responding to Progressive Voice, for example, in the past anyways. Doesn't mean that I have like necessarily a hate boner for him. Then again, he is kind of irrelevant, so I see that's not really worth it, but I don't know. Unless if he was doing it like by the weekly or monthly, I'm not so sure if it's like a hate boner in the same way of Progressive Voice, how he was responding like almost on the daily to Dave Rubin when he first made his turn to being a conservative or whatever.
Right. All right, play.
More are that classic political grifters of YouTube. People who will lash out at the smallest things in Hollywood that go against their beliefs or the beliefs that they're trying to sell.
That's not Drinker, really. Like, if anything,
that's not being a grifter. That being against certain things in Hollywood. How does that make someone a grifter?
He said specifically lashing out the smallest of things.
I mean, just because someone finds something important that you do not find important does not make someone a grifter.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, if it is a small issue that is people are wondering, is this really worth it? I mean, it makes them
there are idiots
kind of petty. I guess that makes them petty, but not a grifter.
Big deals about petty nonsense. We've taken it to them before, but that in and of itself doesn't make someone a grifter.
Yeah, for example, like how we were responding to No Bullshit for making a full video about one brief lesbian mention in Onward. Right?
Well, that's just being a grifter and more him being a lazy idiot.
Lazy, petty idiot. Indeed.
Yeah.
As an example, a common thing that these grifters will try to push, even if they don't say it out loud, is this idea that wokeness is ruining media.
It kind of is.
It fucking is, dude. I mean, there are so many examples of modern movies that are made worse to be seen as more progressive. You can compare like stupid changes made to the Disney live-action remakes as a great example of that.
Yeah, I agree with the substance of your point, although I don't typically like using the word woke, and like I said earlier in response to Pink King, Critical Drinker does not like to use the term woke.
Well, that's their opinion. I'll use it when it's appropriate, and I think a lot of the dumbass changes to modernize classic Disney movies done in the remakes absolutely do fit the definition.
Sure. I mean, I personally like to say it's them like inserting leftism in their movies. Personally, like that is out of place. Like,
when you change it so that Ariel instead of Prince Eric drives the ship into the sea with because God forbid a man ever save a woman in a movie.
Because feminism.
Yeah. That is wokeness ruining movies. And that's one of many, 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 many examples of movies in the last 10 years fucking shit up, but with a weird and creepy obsession with being progressive.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing with Star Wars, as the box office returns on the sequel movies was getting lower and lower with each installment, especially with The Last Jedi, with of how that they were prioritizing feminism.
Not a criticism I would make of Sinners, though. I thought Sinners has good, appropriate masculinity, appropriate levels of sexiness, and was all a good movie that was not ruined by wokeness, and elements of racial antagonism in it are appropriate given the time period it's set in.
Yes, the only massive air quotes woke thing about the movie, or at least something that Pink King and people like him would misunderstand about the criticisms of Critical Drinker and people like them, is that it has black people. That must mean that it's woke or something. Therefore, it's gonna go broke. That's not even the issue. Like, diversity, if it's not out of place, is not woke or anything inappropriate for a movie. Like in the case of Sinners, like Loudmouth said, it was appropriate. But imagine if this movie was to take place in, I don't know, rural Montana or Idaho in the 1930s or something like that. And it was just like there was some massive community of black people up there, and literally not a single white person, let alone a good white person, to be found in sight. Then we might have a bit of an issue. But no, this is
because that would be historically bullshit, because there were very few black people in that part of the country at the time.
Or if they
Mississippi, there are quite a number of them.
Yeah. Anyway.
Either.
One other point that I actually wanted to mention. Before somebody mentions, go woke, go broke, but Barbie movie did not go woke and go broke. Personally, I'm not really somebody who advocates for the term "go woke, go broke." I mean, especially
"get woke, go broke" is a term that seems to apply to cinema directed at men quite often. Get woke, go broke is not a thing for movies that target women. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I just see no evidence.
Exactly. Thank you for injecting that bit of nuance. And that is the thing. If you are going to make a movie that is all woke, you got to make sure that you are like applying it in a movie that is meant to pander, like literally only to leftists. And in the case of the Barbie movie, it was meant to pander mostly to women, which by all statistics and everything are more Democrat than men and so forth. So therefore, it made sense that movie would be successful because it decided to really lean into the feminism.
Not to mention, and even then, that's more of an exception. Movies seem to flop a lot more often than they succeed.
Sure, and to add more to this, the point of when that go woke, go broke applies is when that you want to make woke a property that is mainly meant for men, specifically conservative / politically neutral men, like Marvel movies and Star Wars and so forth.
Right.
Reaching beyond the clouds in order to make a point, or just straight up lying in order to sell their viewers the idea that wokeness is toxic and ruining what was once sacred. These people...
Except it does in some cases refer to
in many
points.
cases it does, though. Sorry. You're wrong.
Toxicity and peddle it to people who they just want to have their own beliefs reassured instead of challenged. It doesn't matter if the grifters believe.
Well, that's not really the point of entertaining movies. If I wanted to see my beliefs challenged, I would go to my way to watch some leftist documentary by Noam Chomsky or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
You're not really challenging people's beliefs when you have hack writers making straw men of conservatives.
Oh yeah, there's that point too of how my beliefs aren't really challenged.
It is the case, not for Sinners, but in many movies. But play.
Yes, exactly.
Believe what they're selling. It just matters that they pump out video after video with often ugly thumbnails and arguments so weak that
I don't know, not much worse than your thumbnail, as we saw at the.
That is kind of a criticism of these channels. A lot of them do pump out a lot of repetitive videos. I have kind of noticed that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's there are some
definitely.
channels I like avoid because yeah, he's just gonna say the same shit again over and over again.
Yeah,
Even if he does believe the things he says, yeah, I don't need to hear it again.
like people like Quartering or Nerdrotic.
Yeah, well, that's one reason I avoid Quartering, but I could get into others, but I'm not going to get into them now.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, he's lumping in Critical Drinker with all these, and I think that's unfair. Critical Drinker, yeah, he'll make like 3 or 4 videos about the same movie, especially if it's like some big movie that is making cultural waves. Like in the case of Snow White, it was making cultural waves in a sort of a way that works against it, and of how much meme culture it contributed to, how much into meme culture it contributed, and so forth. But still, he's got a wide variety of other stuff that he'll talk about, like his production hell videos and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Slightest use of media literacy make them. How did Omni-Man put it?
See this work.
I mean, just wanted to like point out to the videos that he was showing right there of Critical Drinkers. There was like at least 5 different videos of, well, 6 different videos of 5 different movies. There was, I think, 2 Snow White videos, Snow White related videos.
World crumble to dust and blow away.
The point being, these people will claim they care about media and its industry and how they represent the real fans and their opinions on how things should be run. And
win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero.
No, I don't need
but when
a
you've
truck.
won it,
You know, I'm gonna mute it because I don't hear it.
I might have to leave the stream because I might need to go out and buy this truck right now.
Right. Oh, damn it. Was this like a female product ad? Okay.
Yeah.
and will claim that they
What was he gonna say?
No, never mind. It's not that funny.
care about the media it is they cover because they want it to be better. That's why they often talk about Marvel, Star Wars, Doctor Who, anything that is popular and isn't as good as it used to be. They pretend to care in order to farm engagement with their established audience. But how does this link back to Sinners? Well, something I've noticed recently is that if you look at these channels, they all share something in common. No videos discussing Sinners. Isn't that a little odd?
I mean, it could just be that Critical Drinker specifically was just busy. I mean, and it, by all intents and purposes, here in the first few seconds of this video here, it sounded like that he was getting rather pissed off and frustrated that people were nagging him by the thousands, tens of thousands even. Hey, make a video about Sinners, make a video about Sinners, and so on and so forth. I mean, why assume the worst of intentions with him in this regard? What are you saying?
Play.
Okay.
Despite them apparently caring about the state of Hollywood and the movies they make, they don't seem to ever want to acknowledge when they actually did make a not only good movie, but a generational one. And
it's not a generational one again. You're just imagine glazing Sinners this hard. Again, I think it's a really good movie, but
have his opinion. Keep playing.
And it's definitely selective, considering channels like these aren't afraid to talk about media they deem to be good.
Okay, the drinker recommends Warfare. You want to know the difference between Warfare and Sinners? Sinners had like an actual influential and good marketing campaign. Warfare, by all I could tell, did not really. In fact, how much did it make at the box office? Just
I don't think it did well. That's why it was kind of more exactly. That's why Warfare needed more of the push, and I think Warfare was kind of better than Sinners.
Yeah, I agree too, and that's why that he promoted the video, was because it actually needed more of the promotion. Oh yeah, it did not make back its marketing budget, made it back its production, but not its marketing.
Sad. Yeah, it didn't make any money, which is unfortunate because it was good. Hopefully, it does well on video.
But to make a long point short, not equivalent. Warfare versus Sinners, him promoting Warfare, but not Sinners, not a good analogy or argument, Pink King.
So it's not like they only cover bad stuff. They are willing to talk about certain things that they deem are good.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
So why is there no talks about Sinners, despite it literally being the most highly praised movie of the entire year so far? Well,
he's busy or something? I don't know.
Oh, it's quite simple. They are cowardly hypocrites. Remember that.
Oh, assume the worst of intent. these kinds of internet rumors really frustrate the fuck out of you, Loudmouth.
Established audience they talk
petty.
about.
What?
I just said he's being incredibly petty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these people are, from what I have seen, not to be the best of people. As a lot of the people who
Says the guy assuming worse of intentions. You know what? I'm speeding this up again. He talks too slow.
gravitate towards these channels are people with often extreme political views or who hate anything that even remotely is diverse. Which, if you haven't realized yet...
Okay, so there's a point-worthy response right there. That ain't Critical Drinker, though. I mean, he has given praise to movies that is kind of diverse. I mean, he did a review about The Creator. Like, have you seen The Creator, Loudmouth?
Yeah, I did. I actually didn't care for it much. It had some problems with the writing. It had good visual design, though.
Sure. And it didn't do too well at the box office, but Drinker was still willing to go out of his way and give it some praise. Like, he had some criticisms for it, but...
there are some massive plot holes and things it leaves unexplained that really prevent it from being a good movie.
Sure. I mean, Critical Drinker is not as critical of flaws as someone like, say, Maul, or even like you a good portion of the time, Loudmouth. Like, he likes Mandalorian more than Mauler does, for example. But still, Creator had like a black male character protecting a robot that was given the outward aesthetic of a female, like, I don't know, Vietnamese or some kind of Asian girl. But still, there's the diversity right there that he was giving praise to. And he even like went out of his way to say that Predator, a movie from the 80s, was how you actually do diversity and do it fluidly or something. There was like other movies too.
Yeah, you make a movie where a space monster kills the black guys.
Oh, right.
Right, yeah.
They're playing into that trope, yeah. So let's cancel Predator now.
No, Predator's awesome. Predator is great. Both the black guys and it both were really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
The point is, and I can probably think of other videos too where he's given praise to movies, you know, despite, even, and if the word despite even like applies here, despite supposedly them being diverse or whatever. In fact, given some credit to the diversity of the movie. These detractors just don't watch enough of his content to really know about him. And even in his What is Woke video, he gone to like at some point, again, detractors, watch the What is Woke video here to know what I'm talking about. In there, he goes to talking about of how that diversity can be not out of place and appropriate, in fact, in a movie. Like if you're having it set place in a modern day metropolitan area or something. Anyway.
Sinners definitely is, as not only does it have a predominantly black cast, but its themes and story hold a lot of roots in cultures that haven't been explored much in other projects. It challenges a lot of what we already know, with a lot of uncomfortable but relevant history being displayed.
Oh, racism existed back in the 1930s. Yeah, I'm really, really challenged as far as my beliefs go. Again, Sinners is great, but it did not really challenge me on a political level that much, if at all.
With a lot of culture being implemented into this movie in order to create an almost beautiful painting. Culture that a large portion of these grifters, audiences, believe are what is ruining Hollywood.
Oh, bullshit. Yeah,
because they really... Like, a good example, a lot of people have been saying that, about, what was it, when The Woman King came out, about how it's very unfortunate that Hollywood almost never makes any good movie set in Africa or about African mythology or culture. It makes historical revisionist bullshit like The Woman King.
The point that I was going to make in response to that was, oh yeah, because the culture of black music, well, black culture music like jazz and blues and so on and so forth, that is totally what they had problems with in this movie. Totally.
Yeah, that too, but also, Hollywood's representation of certain cultures has been shit. They just take like an old white story and like race bend one of the characters is that their idea of adding of exploring diversity. Oh yeah, well, the Little Mermaid's black now, therefore we're respecting diversity. We're never going to make a movie adapting African culture. Well, we won't do that shit. We're just gonna make safe nostalgic crap. We'll race bend a character and call it diverse.
Yeah, you know what would have made more sense on that regard is if they made like a live action remake of The Princess and the Frog. There's your black cast right there, already made out for you.
But
you just gotta like.
But even beyond that, I'm saying but people on the right have criticized Hollywood for being shitty and lazy with its diverse representation. The idea that people are saying that we hate more diverse representation in movies is bullshit. We really hate lazy corporate diversity.
Or that we somehow hate aspects of black culture like Cajun food or blues and jazz and so forth.
But yeah,
it's just bullshit.
Quote unquote woke issue from before. And unlike a lot of other movies, like
again, he doesn't use the term woke, but I digress.
Like the Spider-Verse films, as an example, there's nothing in Sinners to twist or manipulate to make these people believe it to be bad or to get them to watch a video about it.
Well, there are a few things. I mean, I've mentioned them earlier in this live stream about some of the action being kind of sloppy, but it's not a perfect 10 out of 10 movie. I mean, if a drinker really wanted to mention the cons, he could have, but I don't know, he didn't for some reason in his review of it.
Quite literally goes against everything they believe. That being a diverse movie made by Hollywood not only being good, but something generational.
That's not Drinker's belief, you nuthead.
And so instead of talking about this movie, these people will cower away from talking about it. And it definitely is cowardly with the fact that Sinners released before Thunderbolts, and yet they were almost instant in order to jump on Thunderbolts, but Sinners gets nothing. They are being selective about it, and they're not even trying to hide it.
So what?
And even when they do try to talk about it, like the Critical Drinker's positive review about the movie, they are so clearly afraid to address.
Okay, so his issue was that, Drinker was not reviewing this movie, and yet for some reason he decides to, only now just to mention, yeah, I'll admit that he reviewed the movie.
Well, is he complaining that Critical Drinker and others don't act as part of the movie's marketing campaign for free or something?
Almost seems like that.
It publicly.
Yeah, I like the movie, but I'm not going to be putting up a billboard or anything.
Yeah. Loudmouth, you know how that you're a bad guy? You're a bad guy for not making one of your Jim's quick shots about Sinners. Cancel Loudmouth reviews, everybody.
Jim's quick shot about Sinners.
Sorry, what?
I said I consider this my Jim's quick shot. A quick shot about Sinners.
All right, yeah, fair.
Critical Drinker's positive review about the movie, they are so clearly afraid to address it publicly to their main audiences that they will often hide it in their smaller second channels so they can claim the actually card.
Yes, actually, he has covered the video, so what are you bitching about in this video that you've released about 3 or 4 days after he released his video? And plus, there's plenty of other movies that he has given praise in his secondary channel, but not in his primary channel for some reason or another, because he does not want to kill the algorithm in his primary channel. He just wants to dump it in his second channel instead, or something else like that. Not necessarily because he's all like, oh, I'm too afraid to admit to my opponents that, this movie was actually good or whatever. Let's see. Like Novocaine, for example. Well, I haven't actually seen this video, but
I haven't seen it either.
But there's Novocaine right here in Critical Drinker After Hours, and not his main channel. Although I can only imagine that he probably does give it praise, because it does seem to be something along the lines of John Wick and Nobody and movies like that of the 2020s that seem to kind of feel like a typical callback to 90s action movies in a way. It doesn't mean anything, you Paint King.
Now, if I'm being honest, if you often see a lot of bad movies being made by Hollywood and your whole thing is that they should do better, wouldn't you want to share the one time they actually do something better on the biggest platform you have available to yourself?
And he does do that plenty of times.
Why though? I mean, them putting out something good should be kind of like the bare minimum. It's kind of amazing that how exceptional it is.
So sorry, say that again.
It's that them putting out good stuff should just kind of be the norm, not the exception.
Oh yeah.
Odin Valhalla Rising, now available.
Right as I
now available. I get to fly a dragon.
to show people how it's supposed to be done? Yeah, I'm not kidding. Drinker uploaded a review that by all accounts is practically identical to his other reviews on his main channel, but just so happened to upload it on his second channel for no discernible reason other than what I have mentioned. Cowardice. Now,
except that might not be the reason at all, because it could be a multitude of other reasons. Ask him.
now, I'm not saying that these people must make videos about certain topics, but
That's bullshit. You totally
That is exactly what you're doing, dumbass.
I'm
That's
simply
literally
pointing out
exactly what you're doing.
hypocrisy going on here. You claim you care about the media being made and the people who make the media, but will shy away from the good sides of that media when it best suits your own interests.
But the thing is, though, is that, again, Sinners did not need the extra marketing. And like he said in his review that he did release, he was giving it praise in like his live streams and on social media and so forth.
Yeah, Sinners seems to have done pretty well without the critical drinker's help. Dare the critical drinker not swoop in to save it like Superman or something.
So it definitely made more sense that he would come and like make a drinker recommends for Warfare, because that was a movie that was a good movie that did need the help, that did need to be marketed more so as to proliferate more good content in Hollywood. Sinners did not need to be, was not one of those movies that needed the marketing at this point in the game, guy.
It's all biased with these people, and it's all.
And maybe that's the reason why he felt less motivated to want to make a full review about Sinners, was because he's all like, it seems to be doing pretty good, so that's good. I'll just move on to other things. And then a few seconds later, make a review about Sinners, make a review about Sinners, make a review about Sinners. Okay, you naggy fucks, then fine. I'll get my bottle of whiskey and we can make a review about Sinners. Now go away now.
Because they can't afford to lose their viewers, because, like it or not, their tactics work, as they amplify hate and use that hate to pump up views and spread false grifting nonsense. So out of pure fear of losing some of their audience, they will sacrifice any
false grifting nonsense, except if I was to like understand correctly what he's trying to imply there, Critical Drinker is not one of those people that's all like, oh, diversity by itself is something that does not sell or whatever. Again, watch What is Woke by in his second channel.
integrity in order to please their viewers. And here's the thing, if they want to do that, then just admit to it. Don't go out of your way of talking about how much you care about the media and you want it to be better when you are too afraid to talk about the times that the media is actually good and are so quick to pounce on said media when
they claim to be reviewers with genuine criticisms, when in actuality it's blatant grifting in order to profit off a large group of toxicity towards anything that goes against their beliefs. Bullshit. God, I'd just be repeating myself at this point.
This is a logical fallacy called poisoning the well right here.
Yeah. Explain.
Poisoning the well. You assert a bunch of toxic things against a certain group of people before you start talking about their beliefs to try to say your audience to build a negative view of them in your audience's head. That kind of strategy is known as poisoning the well.
To be fair, maybe he has like before talked about what he thinks is the actual negative or the beliefs of a critical drinker that he has a problem with in his other two videos. But I don't know. I think we can like infer some of the I guess you're right that we can infer some of the beliefs that he thinks that critical drinker has within this video.
And it seems like he doesn't just dislike critical drinker. He seems to hate critical drinker's audience with this.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if I was to give the benefit of the doubt, there are probably some white nationalists and other people that are within his viewing audience. Doesn't mean that he is 100% aligned with them and that he thinks, oh, the instance that a black guy is shown in a movie trailer, therefore he's going to predict that the movie is automatically garbage.
it best suits your interests, aka Thunderbolts once again. And the funny thing is, Sinners exposed this blatant cowardice in the grifting community without even trying. It was simply put a damn good movie that made history.
And Sinners was also successful without Critical Drinker trying to make a video about it.
On a few levels. It casually came in, kicked ass, and it is going to leave at some point. Now, before this video ends, I recommend you go watch another YouTuber by the name of The Birdman. He's someone who pointed out...
Yeah, and guess who made a response to the Birdman's video that was reviewing Critical Drinker? PSA Stitch and Adam. I recommend go watching their live stream, taking the piss out of this guy. I mean, as much as we're like being critical of Pink King, he is not as bad as the Birdman. The Birdman is much more bad faith and nasty about Drinker.
In much greater detail than me, the same thing I'm talking about here. It's a pretty good video, honestly, that helps to explain more points that I also agree with. So I will leave a link to their video down in the description of this one if you're interested. I do definitely recommend it. And if you take anything away from this video, take this. Always form your own opinions on things.
And I do, despite the fact that I watch Critical Drinker as a baseline for a lot of movies that I want to possibly be interested in watching.
Yeah, you should form your own opinions on things, but at the same time, our time is a bit limited. We only have so much time in the day to devote to certain media. We really can't we see everything and evaluate everything. Most people have things like jobs and lives. So taking recommendations from certain people who you've agreed with in the past is actually quite fine.
Yeah. And if it happens that I have watched a movie before, Drinker has released a review about it, and he says something that I think is not quite right, well, I'm not going to just immediately change my mind or something like some mindless drone or something. I have my own opinion and belief of things, Pink King.
Yeah.
Don't jump on bandwagons created by other YouTubers because it reaffirms your own biases.
And might I just add as well, if I was a bandwagoneer, then I would have totally been on the bandwagon of trashing War of the Rohirrim, but no, I'm actually somebody who like got shit in the comment section of my review of War of the Rohirrim, saying that that they were saying that I was lying, and also that I was probably getting a paycheck from Hollywood for promoting that, for giving it a positive.
We weren't even
review.
really that positive. We did like a video on it. We kind of did criticize it in a few areas. At least I did.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly did too. Like,
yeah, I mean, like a 6-7 out of 10 movie. It's decent, but it's not great.
Yeah, and it's definitely not the most girl bossiest of girl boss movies. Like, there's girl boss moments, but it's not that anti-male as a lot of these other simpletons want to propose it is.
Right.
Go out there and challenge yourself and what you already know by experiencing things for yourself, openly, and express yourself respectfully. But what do you guys think? Do you agree?
What if it's too expensive for me though, Pink King? What if I don't want to pay like $20, well, $40 if you include concessions, to go see a movie that might more likely than not be a movie that I don't have a comfortable or pleasant experience with? What if I just want to like save the challenging of my beliefs for in my own free time when I don't have to pay $3 for something like for the theater experience?
Well, I just go on Tuesdays. They got a good discount. You can get a ticket for $5 with free popcorn.
Well, fortunate for you that you have a theater that gives those kinds of deals. But I think the cheapest theater that I have in my area is, I live in Wichita, and this theater is like down in Derby. So it'd be quite like a 30-minute drive at least. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I probably go to a lot of movies just like munch on free popcorn, which probably not good for my girth though.
How expensive are the tickets though on those days?
$5 plus free popcorn. So there is a premium if it's
Wow.
like a 3D show or an IMAX show. So it's like an IMAX. I did see Sinners at the IMAX. So it was $11 with the free popcorn.
Wow. Okay. I think it's like at least $16 for me for an IMAX ticket in Wichita.
Well, it is like that if I had went on Friday, but on the discount day.
Gotcha. If only that was the case for me here in Wichita, but lo and behold, here we are.
I have here, or do you disagree? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of this video.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Pretty much wrapping up. But
this video was just obnoxious. It was incredibly petty and whiny. Like, I mean, it just seemed like he had just a weird hate on anyone who offers center criticism of movies.
Yeah. Frank JGZ in the live chat says it's not kind of ruining the media. It is ruining the media, referring to wokeness and so forth. just wanted to show that live chat because apparently it's not showing in the regular YouTube live chat, only my StreamYards. But yeah, quite unfortunate that so many detractors think that Critical Drinker is some mindless simpleton like no bullshit when they really don't know that much about him. Like, he's not perfect, he's flawed, and maybe there is times where he's omitted details about movies. I don't know. There's some videos that go.
I think the best review hit from him was he's reviewed this shitty Canadian show, Robin Y. Hood. And what's funny is he doesn't criticize the movie, but he pretends to praise it. But he just makes a bunch of obviously sarcastic praising. And I actually found that review pretty funny.
Oh yeah, he's done that quite a few times. Actually, I think he's done that for Captain Marvel as well. Which goes to show that he is not just a one-trick pony. Sometimes he'll give an unironic positive review. Sometimes he'll give a sarcastic positive review just for the freaking laughs and the lulls and so forth, like you just said. Sometimes he'll give a negative review. Sometimes he'll give an in-between review. And damn it, Loudmouth lost connection again. We'll wait for him. 3 people watching. How are y'all doing on this fine Sunday? I personally am doing kind of good. As soon as this live stream is done, I'm going to enjoy the chicken Caesar salad that I mixed in a gallon-sized freezer bag that's sitting in the fridge right now. I will go and enjoy that after this. Hello again, Loudmouth.
Yeah. I was saying that this review, it pretended to praise the movie, but was like obviously sarcastic.
Yeah.
Like he liked, like you said, in this movie, it's an amazing soundtrack, and he played a bit of the soundtrack, and is some of the shittiest music you've ever heard in your life.
Of what movie again? Dang it! You just mentioned
it wasn't a movie; it was the shitty TV show from Canada.
Oh yeah, Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I watched like a couple reviews of it. It looks so bad.
Have you ever checked out Jay Longbone?
Jay Longbone. It's not ringing a bell.
She's got some of the funniest videos on YouTube. She's like pretty much fits perfectly the mold of a jolly fat black woman, and she really plays it up and with all the sass and all that stuff. It's not, but yeah, she's funny. She's a hoot. I would go recommend checking her out. Maybe I should like search up some of my favorite videos of hers. If actually, it's quite unfortunate. I think YouTube has not really been notifying me of when she uploads and so forth. I'll have to get updated on her channel. Oh yeah. So do we want to talk a little bit about Lilo and Stitch and then end this live stream? Have you ever seen that? Have you seen the movie?
The remake?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh man. Tell us. Tear a new asshole into it, Loudmouth.
Fuck this movie. It is absolute an ass on movies in general, an ass boil on humanity.
Is it as bad as Mulan 2020 though?
Not quite. Okay, it's not that bad. Maybe I exaggerate a little bit. I mean, it has some positive aspects. I mean, the girl who played Lilo did a pretty decent job for a kid actor. Stitch himself was still a cute, enjoyable character in the scenes he's in. So there's some, it does like provide like an explanation for his name, and there's a few other things that were okay, but there were some big changes to the story that absolutely fucking ruined it.
Yeah, like removing Gantu and making Jumba the main antagonist.
Yeah. Now, on top of that, Jumba as the antagonist could have possibly worked, but Zach Galifianakis' voice as Jumbo was terrible. He doesn't have the Russian accent anymore, and the character just has nothing to him. It's not even that it's not favorable to the original movie. He's just not a good villain. That
is the main thing about it. Like, I guess one thing that... excuse me. I guess one response that I can imagine a whole bunch of Disney simps mentioning in response to us is being all like, oh, but you people want these live action remakes to change up something so they're not a shot for shot remake. So, but now you're complaining about they're changing something. I want them to change it up, but also keep it good. Like, from all
we do want a remake to have a reason to justify its existence. We don't really want stupid changes that ruin the story.
Honestly, now I just thought about this right now. You know, it would actually be a decent change for like what would be the remake of the very first Lilo and Stitch movie, but would not go against the core character of any established characters, is bringing in Dr. Hamsterville for this movie. Maybe he could have been like revealed as kind of early on as being the mastermind behind Gantu and everyone else. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have made sense because he's a bit of a rogue madman as opposed to an actual politician like the Galactic Federation Prime Minister lady or whatever, who was at the time actually over command of Captain Gantu. But still, I mean, maybe they could have changed up the writing a little bit. Maybe they could have actually made Hamsterville the prime minister, and the actual prime minister lady was some lower political position or something. I don't know. These ideas that I'm mentioning, I would still pose are much better ideas than turning Jumba a villain just because you're too lazy to include Gantu in the movie at all.
Well, that's another thing about this movie is you can definitely tell Disney made it for much cheaper than usual. The budget of this movie was only $100 million, which if you adjust to inflation, is less than the original movie cost. The end action sequence is far less expansive and fun than it was in the original movie. Probably because Disney didn't want to fork over the cash to do it well in live action with realistic computer animation. Bringing in Gantu and having them fly two ships through the mountains and Stitch drive into a volcano. Oh, that was cool stuff, but that costs money, man. To stage stuff and render all these effects, man. We can't do that.
See, that's what the thing that would have attracted me to want to actually go to my way and pay the expensive ass ticket for seeing this movie was if there was going to be some new kick-ass action that wasn't even seen in the original movie. Like maybe they could have crashed into downtown Honolulu and being throwing buses and cars at each other or something like that.
You want to know what's funny about that? That actually was original what the end of the original Lilo and Stitch was going to be. That they actually originally were going to fly out the big ship through the city. Yeah. They changed it because of the 9/11 attacks at the last
minute. I heard about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
they thought having planes fly through a city was too reminiscent, so the sequence was moved into the mountains.
Fast forward 20 plus years later, it would not have been as culturally insensitive to include that in. I mean, 9/11 still is a sensitive topic for everybody, but I think we're far enough removed from that we could have, you could have made an action scene that was something reminiscent of that.
Yeah, actually would have been if they had done the original sequence, now for the live action remix. No, what we get is far lamer. Stitch, Lilo and Stitch are both abducted on Jumba's ship. Lilo sneaks around him, and Jumba, being a fucking idiot, doesn't notice her for some reason, and that's it. It's incredibly lame, incredibly cheap, and that's not even the worst part of it. The movie, once again, Disney feels a weird and psychotic need to degrade every male character they can.
I think I know what you're about to mention right now. Are you about to mention the change of the ending?
Yeah, but before that, I was going to say the character of David, for some reason, he's still in the movie, but for some reason, they feel a need to remove the only two significant things he does in the plot. And he was a minor character, but he does do two significant things in the original movie. One is helping Nani get a job, and two is saving Stitch from drowning. And both of those are removed. Now Nani gets a job by this neighbor lady, and Nani saves Stitch from drowning because guys can't do anything.
Oh man, I was gonna give the benefit of the doubt originally that it wasn't gonna be some air quotes wokeness within this movie, or at least not intentionally, but that seems to be the more and more that I hear about this, especially what you just mentioned there, just makes me think opposite of that opinion, actually.
And that even isn't the worst change. Oh, in this one, Nani gives Lilo away to a social worker at the end of the movie and goes off to college to become a marine biologist.
Yeah, because CPS are the good guys. That's the way to do it for no reason at all. Just give your kid away for CPS.
Ohana means abandoning your family to study fish.
Yeah, an ocean away too. Not even on the island that you're living on.
Now, to be fair, they like they invent this weird like portal transporter thing that they can like instantly travel like across the ocean to visit each other, but it's still stupid.
It's still stupid. And not to mention, I also go hearing about the neighbor lady. Like, maybe she could have been an added character. Maybe she could have been a character that was all like, I want to assist you, Nani. And Nani, for some reason of stubbornness, she's all like, no, I don't want any of your help. And maybe it's revealed somewhere later in the plot as to why that she refuses to accept any help from the neighbor lady and so forth. But no, apparently what I hear immediately, this neighbor lady, she is actively helping Nani. And the fact that she is an active secondary guardian for Lilo, it just really decreases the stakes of, the danger of this movie being that Lilo being taken away from Nani.
Yeah, and it's weird though what they do with Cobra Bubbles. In the original way, Cobra Bubbles is a social worker, and it's revealed at the very end that he was former CIA. Whereas here they invent this like lady social worker into the plot for who serves no purpose, and then they make Cobra Bubbles kind of a CIA agent revealed tracking down aliens throughout the entire movie. It's just a hopeless change. His character was much more interesting, kind of as a mysterious, tough nails, but yet still caring social worker.
Yeah, I mean that was the nice thing about him. He had a rough exterior, but a legitimate, soft interior, caring nature to him.
He's kind of has an antagonistic role in the original movie, but it also shows that he's really getting on Nani's ass for a good reason, because he cares about the kid in her possession. Like
precisely,
and he does have legitimate reasons to, given that Nani is very young. Her parents just died. Is she really fit to take care of her younger sister? That is actually kind of something. Not seeing her as fit for this is kind of valid. Precisely. And Lilo is kind of a difficult child.
I mean, imagine if Cobra Bubbles was to come in and see, we got this one older lady helping to keep the house clean and cook food for Lilo and, raise her and so forth. You think that the CPS worker would be more incentivized or much less incentivized to want to take Lilo away from the house?
Yeah, and you see in like the photograph montage at the end, like you see like Thanksgiving dinner, Cobra Bubbles is there with him, so he's like been invited as a friend in the original movie. Here, it's kind of weird. Like he's almost a non-part of the main character's life throughout the movie, but then he like is given he talks with the Grand Councilwoman like he does in the original movie, and afterwards like he's put in charge of watching Stitch, so he becomes a part of their lives, which is kind of creepy. He's just like some random dude. Hey, now he's going to be watching over you now. Okay, and everyone just kind of accepts it. It was so dumb. You took what worked perfectly well in the original movie and you made it worse for no reason.
I am really sad about how many people think that this is like literally a 9 or 10 out of 10 perfect movie, and that's probably the biggest reason.
Movie at best,
huh?
2 or maybe 3 if I'm generous, because it wasn't as horribly awful as the Dumbo remake or the Mulan remake, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, at first it did seem rather decent. Like the special effects for Stitch were not as eye-piercingly, nightmarishly fueling as the 7 CG abominations of the Snow White movie. And also, by all intents and purposes, from all the trailer material, it did seem rather faithful. The only thing that was going to make me not want to go is if Gantu was not included. And lo and behold, he's not included. And it just, I wasn't going to see it, but I also wasn't going to trash it. But I keep on hearing worse and worse things about it. It's like, are people really that blindsided and just really have that much of a consumerist mindset to where that they're willing to say that literally any and every Disney product is a perfect thing? What the fuck kind of world do we live in?
Yeah, these live action remakes, and unfortunately, it did well at the box office. It did really well with its low budget. It actually probably made enough profit to compensate for Snow White's losses, which means that Disney live action remakes are net profitable, which is sad.
So I'm not gonna watch Snow White for obvious reasons. Like it's almost objectively bad throughout all the internet and all the normies and everyone else is all like,
I have not seen Snow White. I might watch it on Disney Plus just half. Obviously I didn't see it in theaters, but
considering of how much of a profit that Lilo and Stitch is turning out, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter whether or not that I do go see in theater myself, but I don't really want to contribute to the box office. Plus, I don't.
No, I would not recommend. I would not recommend contributing to the box office. It doesn't deserve it.
But I'm gonna wait until it comes out on streaming on Disney Plus, and then I'll probably make my review of it, because I can only imagine that, unfortunately, some of my family and friends are probably going to be all like, "Oh, it's a good movie. What are you talking about?" And I'll only be able to sufficiently respond to them if I see the movie myself to respond as to how trash it is. Although I do have at least one sister who's normally like optimistic about live action remakes, who kind of does give the benefit of the doubt of the naysayers. When I told her, "Oh, I go hearing that the Lilo and Stitch movie is worse than it actually is. It sounds more sanitized and a lot less emotionally impactful than the first one." And she was all like, "Yeah, that's what I hear." So I guess it's not quite that bad. But anyway.
Yeah, and it's a shame because Lilo and Stitch, essentially the original, is essentially Disney's last great hand-drawn animated movie, in my opinion. Because other sense, such like The Princess and the Frog or the 2011 Winnie the Pooh, they're fine. They're even pretty good, but I wouldn't call them truly great.
What about Atlantis? Did that come after Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah, those came after Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch came out back in 2002.
Okay. Atlantis wasn't a truly great movie, in your opinion?
Oh, Atlantis came out before Lilo and Stitch. I'm sorry, I didn't misheard you. Yeah, I still wouldn't call Atlantis a truly great movie, but that did come out before Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's pretty much been the last one because Disney seems to have abandoned hand-drawn animation since. And of course, and now we get this live action remake of it.
Yeah. Man, speaking of their animation studio, what even is their next thing to come out soon?
Pixar's
Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2. Yeah, that's what's coming out in the Disney animation studios.
Yeah, I'm not really optimistic for it, given how trash their latest output was. I mean, Wish was genuinely amazingly good. And Moana 2, not as bad as Wish, but also kind of shit. Vastly inferior to the first one.
I'll probably still give Zootopia 2 a chance because I legitimately did like the first one when I first watched it.
I did as well. It was definitely one of my favorite movies of 2016. Definitely one of Disney's best output. In fact, I'd probably say it's the best animated movie of the last decade Disney's made outside of Pixar.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which, really hope that Elio does well at the box office. Otherwise, Pixar's going to be discouraged to make original properties.
Yes, especially considering that Elio's budget supposedly ballooned to $300 million, so it's got an uphill battle.
It probably is not going to make back its money. Like, what would it need to make? At least $700 million to break even and make a few cents worth of profit?
Probably more than that. I'm not sure what the marketing is, but it's probably closer to $800 million to break even with a budget that high.
Wow. So I guess.
I mean, if you adjust it, like, if you adjust to inflation, Toy Story 3 cost almost that much, but it was a big property beforehand, so it was able to make that.
At the same time, though, I haven't been seeing a whole lot of promotion of Elio. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of trailers on Facebook or anything within recent weeks. They've been really hit and miss. Not like with Lilo and Stitch. Like, Lilo and Stitch, I saw more of a marketing campaign for that in the lead up to it. But not Elio. It's kind of worrying. So maybe the marketing budget is cheap for Elio, and maybe it'll have an easier time making back its money. But at the same time,
hopefully Elio is actually good because Pixar is also not really what they used to be in recent years, even though they've still managed to make some good stuff.
It looks interesting enough, and I definitely will see it in theater within the first week of it. Maybe not opening weekend, but maybe the midweek or something, and I'll give my thoughts on it. And I also, although I guess I do hear that there's another original property coming out from Pixar soon-ish after, and that is Hoppers, about some gal that gets her consciousness transplanted into some hamster robot thingy. That at least sounds interesting, I guess. I'll give it a chance. I don't know much about it.
But Pixar probably would be better off not spending $300 million on it.
Yeah, hopefully they can keep it down to a modest 150 million or something like that.
Yeah,
but at the same time, they've been kind of on having a bad habit of ballooning their budgets to 200 million. In fact, I go looking at their filmography. There's not that many of them that are that cheap. I mean, the cheapest one that I think might be Bug's Life, and that was like 80 million or something. Let me look that up, actually.
I believe that cost 60 million, which in today's dollars like 150 million almost.
Okay, so getting kind of close to 200 million. I don't know, but generally speaking, it seems that they all cost 200 mil.
Well, yeah, generally, I mean, Pixar does try to have the best animation in the industry, which is generally a good thing. Like even Lightyear, which is my least favorite movie Pixar has made, even it looked really nice.
It looked nice in a realistic kind of sense, but did not look that pretty and awe-filled with its graphics. Like I just recently gave a rewatch to Coco, and man, I really wish that I could create city landscapes that are as beautiful as the Land of the Dead.
Coco is amazing, and Pixar has not made any movie that good since.
All right. But Up is your number one, right?
Up is my number one, but Coco is fantastic.
Okay. You know what would be really interested to see is you do like a tier list of the Pixar movies, your own personal ranking from worst to best.
Coco would definitely be in the top 5.
Okay, where would the first Incredibles be in your opinion?
Probably up there, probably in the top 10. Definitely, the first Incredibles is great.
Only top 10? I consider it my number one favorite.
I like it, but I wouldn't rate it as great as Up or Coco or Toy Story 3 or Finding Nemo. There's a few I like better, but still, The Incredibles is still awesome.
Yeah. I actually, this last Friday, just gave finally my rewatch of Toy Story 4 for the first time since seeing it in theaters, and it's so much worse than I remember it being. Oh my gosh, it was such a slog to get through.
I didn't think Toy Story 4 was bad. I think you underrate it.
Well, just wait until my Pixar ranking and review comes out of it as I tear a new asshole.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unnecessary movie that probably didn't need to be made, but at the same time, it's not bad on its own. It's fine.
What I have yet to see actually is a lot of people defending it. Like, sure, there are like people who do ranking videos of Pixar that kind of rank Toy Story 4 kind of in the top 20s at least out of all the 40 plus movies that they've made in their history, but never made like a devoted standalone video defending it. Schaefer's production said that supposedly he was gonna make a video defending it, saying it's an underrated gem or something, but he's never did it in the 4 years, 5 years, whatever, since he's released his Pixar ranking.
Yeah.
Do you know of any videos that defend that movie?
I don't know. I still am just saying my own opinion of it. I think it's good.
Okay. What I find really baffling, like there was this one ranking video that I watched. I think I might have linked it to you actually. It was the guy that was ranking up as like in the bottom 3 for some stupid ass reason. Like if you want to just, huh?
I'm like blasphemy. Up is Up is not only my favorite Pixar movie. It's probably in my top 10 favorite movies. Period. I adore that movie.
Right. But in that same video, I think this is the same person anyways, he got praising WALL-E, but for some reason he just found it within him to mention some fat phobia comment.
Yeah, get fuck off. WALL-E's great.
Yeah, like he was all like, it could have done without the fat phobia rhetoric.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I can
fat
safely say that guy's an idiot whose opinion should be discounted, because them being like lazy couch potatoes was the entire point. It was meant to satirize how reliance on technology can rob us of our humanity, and it's a valid thing.
And honestly, it wasn't even just them being fat. It was them being like balls of jelly with very little muscle and bone mass. It was them being inactive in general, and it just, physically shown.
Right, because even in a polar opposite of something like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, where AI does serve humanity's interests and does want to help mankind instead of actively hating us, even that can lead to kind of negative effects. I think that is the point that's making.
Yeah. Ultimately, that was the point I was making, and AI could just play humans like a fiddle, like a puppet, if they get so docile as the humans did in WALL-E.
Yeah. Or it could come to hate us and torture us for eternity. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's I don't know. Take your pick. Which is obviously the torture is worse. Because eventually, I guess, theoretically, of the docility, you could break out of that eventually.
Right.
I don't know.
That's like the darkest vision. That story that Harlan Ellison wrote is the darkest vision of what where AI could lead to. But there's a lot of like variation in futures that are not quite that dark, but still have obvious negative connotations with AI.
Yeah. I will admit this though. I have not given Brave enough credit as a movie. Like for a while, for some reason, I considered Good Dinosaur to be better than Brave. I was wrong, because rewatching Good Dinosaur, it was so boring and meandery. Like it was just a real slug.
I kind of like both Toy Story 4 and The Good Dinosaur more than Brave.
Huh?
I said I liked Toy Story 4 and The Good Dinosaur a bit more than Brave.
Really?
A little bit.
You considered Brave to be a 7 out of 10. Damn.
Yeah.
Shit. I think that's being too generous to Good Dinosaur. I would really like to see like you do your own ranking review of Pixar's filmography or something. I mean,
I kind of gave The Good Dinosaur a little bit of praise and way back in my Walking with Dinosaurs review, and I mostly point out its dialogue was meaningful and impacted the story, even though this is a talking dinosaur movie for children. And yet you manage to not smother your audience with idiotic dialogue, whereas the Walking with Dinosaurs movie, the voiceovers were just ear-piercingly bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously not as bad as that, but I still feel like that Arlo finding out Spot's name or naming Spot could have been paced a lot better than Arlo playing some boring name guessing game with the weirdo Triceratops character that doesn't pop up at any later point in the movie.
Yeah, but I thought the story had a cute boy and his dog quality, but with the boy as the dog, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it did. And there was some good concepts on paper. It's just in execution, it was just made so boring and monotonous. The T-Rex scenes were like the only things worth a watch, in my opinion.
Sam Elliott as the like Papa T-Rex was great. And I love them. And I love the idea of having these bunch of tyrannosaurs as kind of like good guys who are helpful to this sauropod dinosaur, because it's obviously so different than you usually see in media for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But even with the dinosaur scenes, it comes with the big asterisk that they kind of just fizzle out of the movie kind of anticlimactically. I found it kind of weird.
It's basically a Western. It's basically like a Western where like a boy is in the wilderness, finds a dog, and kind of like go on a journey and meet various weird characters, and he learns to be braver and then gets back home. It kind of just hits that, but it adds a weird trope of having it set in a weird alternate reality where the asteroid that wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs never hit.
Yeah. I get that aspect of it. I don't know. Wish I could formulate my thoughts better, but it just still felt like it was missing something. I mean, the Triceratops character definitely, he was like built up as if he was gonna pop up later as some annoying hindrance, or maybe he'd be kind of helpful to fight off the pterosaurs or pterodactyls, whatever exactly they were, at a later point in the movie. But no, he doesn't pop up again. It's just a random and not even that good of a gimmick that the movie had, just for out of left field.
I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dinosaurs is a great movie. I just thought it was pretty good. But yeah, was it great? Was it one of Pixar's best? Absolutely not.
But you still consider it to be an 8 out of 10?
Yeah.
8 out of 10 is getting pretty high up there, and you don't. What do you consider actually great? 9s and 10s out of 10?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe 7 for a good dinosaur. 7 to 8, kind of.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still in the middle.
If it were made by any other studio, I might raise it more. It just wasn't up to the standards of Pixar's best.
Yeah. I will say that watching Coco, that I still kind of had some flaws that really I cannot get out of my mind from ever since watching that one video that I shared to you a year or so ago. But it does have a lot of great qualities to it, especially how it handled Alzheimer's. I can only imagine that an alternative animation studio like Illuminations or Sony, or even half the people that work at DreamWorks, would have played Alzheimer's as nothing but a joke, if this was a Weekend at Joe Biden's or something like that. But no, kudos to Pixar for handling the issue of Alzheimer's with as much seriousness and grace that they did.
Oh yeah, fantastically done.
I'm glad that it was not played up as jokes. But unfortunately, I guess speaking of jokes, that's kind of one of the weak points of Coco, is that it does not. It's one of the least funny movies of their catalog. I don't remember one single joke that I can pick out from it. Really. I mean, I don't know if you can.
I mean, yeah,
really.
it wasn't really a comedy, but
I don't know. I'm thinking of. I will give a forewarning that my ranking review will be kind of like a. It will go off of some of the standards that Pixar have set in their earliest inception, and that being been known for being funny and having a fun, dynamic cast of side characters, and having real good climaxes, and sometimes exciting climaxes too, and be going off of some of that standard for what makes a good Pixar movie. Anyway, I think we're kind of winding down here. So
but you'll be joining me later this week to review on my channel, where I'm going to be reviewing the new Walking with Dinosaurs, which premieres tomorrow.
Okay. Is the PBS Kids app free to download?
It's not on PBS Kids, just PBS app. Yeah, it's free to download, free to watch. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll set aside some time. We'll see. I also got some other plans going on throughout the week. Like
if not, I'll just be on my channel with a Reckless Trucker.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch in the live chat. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you all who have watched this live stream, and thank you all in the future who will watch this live stream. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But Sinners, it's probably like no, it's definitely not in theaters anymore. If you can find a hard copy of it, or even if
it'll be on 4K Blu-ray in like in less than a month.
Okay. Buy a physical copy. It is worth a watch, and it is worth owning for watching every now and then for a good old horror thriller action movie night.
Yeah, especially it'll probably be a great one to watch around Halloween.
Yeah. And for all the people out there critical drinker, at least like be fair to the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna I don't want to be like fucking critical drinker off or anything, but I mean the criticisms in that guy's video were just retarded and petty.
Indeed. And thank you, Loudmouth, for joining me. It was definitely fun today.
All right. Yep. Take care, everybody.
Thank you all for joining, and God bless.